Hey guys, it's Mike from We Are the Batman here. Just want to let you know we have a new website you guys can go to. Just go to podpage.com/We Are the Batman. That's podpage.com/We Are the Batman. You can get all of our episodes there, get a little more information about us, and most importantly, you can leave us reviews and you can leave us comments and messages, send us questions and episode ideas, and you can even leave us voicemails. All these great tools are on the website. Head over to podpage.com/We Are the Batman. We always love to hear from you guys. Head on over there now and check it out. Hey everybody, welcome back to We Are the Batman. I'm Mike.
And this is Matthew.
We've got a nice big fun show for today. It's one piece of news. We're going to give you a completely off-brand short review of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, because that's going to lead us into our main topic, which is pitching our cast for James Gunn's Justice League in his version of the DCU. We'll get into all the rules and all that in a little bit. Before we get into everything here, Matt, how you doing, buddy?
Doing good. Just scarfing down some pot noodle before we begin this.
It is 10 a.m. and you're eating noodles.
It's always a good time for...
I mean, it's 11 a.m. here, and I'm drinking iced coffee with a shot of whiskey in it because it's that kind of day already.
Fair.
All right, so only real piece of news I wanted to get into. This isn't so much a news thing. It is just kind of an observation thing. So, as everybody knows, the WGA, the Writers Guild of America, is currently on strike following botched negotiations with studio heads. Pay your writers, people, is what this all really boils down to. As two guys who dabble in writing, who a lot of what we do on this show is based in our love and our history of writing. Pay your writers, everybody. And I say this because just yesterday, the day before, Matt Reeves himself tweeted out a picture down at the picketing with the WGA. He is protesting, is striking with them. A lot of productions have been halted. Tom Ellis, who played Lucifer on Lucifer, has been
very well, I might add.
Yeah, very well. I still need to go back and rewatch that show. I never finished it. Yeah, pay your writers is what a lot of this comes down to. Because if you're one of the people who was lucky enough to not live through a previous writer's strike, I've lived through two. They're not good because a lot of crap happens. I look at the overabundance of reality television as a direct result of the writers' strikes, because when the writers aren't getting paid and they don't want to work, nor should they work without getting paid what they deserve, that's how you get 30 different versions of Real Housewives.
And that's how you get Transformers 2.
Oh, God. Oh,
Which I don't mind per se, but it doesn't make a lick of sense because they couldn't do any rewrites.
Oh, that movie sucks so hard. It's not the worst one of the bunch, though. Last night, definitely the worst Transformers movie so far. We'll see how bad Rise of the Beast is. I don't have high hopes. Anyway, so that's all I wanted to get into is just voicing solidarity for the writers. You know, I'm not fortunate enough to get paid to write. These guys do, but you know, the stories you hear about a lot of people working on shows like Wednesday or Succession or these other huge shows who are barely scraping by, making ends meet, or having to go on food stamps because they're just not getting paid enough to live. So, pay your writers, people.
Definitely.
Shouldn't seem like something I have to say, but yeah, I'm saying it. Anyway, let's get on from that though, and let's get over into we both saw Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Since we're doing a show today that involves James Gunn, and I feel like our thoughts on Guardians are going to involve how we feel about James Gunn going forward in DC, let's get into a very quick couple-minute review of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3.
Guardians of the Galaxy 3 is I don't think since Endgame has there been a perfect topper to a saga.
Oh, yeah.
Like it you know, I mean, maybe, well, no, I'm going to stay with perfect. Like, it's really, really good. I liked everything they did. I think, you know, my understanding is I don't know how much control he had over what happened in Endgame and Infinity War, but he was definitely left with this, how do I resolve this love story I spent 2
Mhm.
movies creating and you guys just destroyed it. And
Yeah.
I think give probably that's probably one of the worst hands you can give, and I think they did a perfect job with that story. I thought
Yeah.
everybody's storylines kind of worked really well. Little problems here and there, but I mean, ultimately, it's a 9 for me. The emotions were top notch. The acting's top notch. It's just like you could tell. You, unlike some of these other trilogies of characters, you can tell like he had a lot of this planned out.
Mhm.
And now knowing what we know in the third one, going back and watching the other two, it gets heartbreaking, especially that scene in the first one when Rocket is all like, I didn't get asked to be torn apart and rebuilt. He's just like,
Mhm.
so, but no, I thought it was fantastic. Great action. The new suits, the actual Guardians of the Galaxy suits
Oh,
are
the comic
fantastic.
accurate suits?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm hard pressed not to buy the whole family that, and that's what we're going as Halloween. But
I mean, you wouldn't be. I guarantee you won't. If you do, you won't be the only family in the world doing that. It's yeah. I cried so many times in this movie. I think I cried like 4 times watching this movie. Not just from like the emotion of the finality of it all, of because the Guardians, those are our space buddies. Those are our space best friends. And if you'd have told me 15 years ago, I remember hearing about Guardians of the Galaxy for the very first time, and I was just like, I Googled it and I was like, there's no way. There's no way. This is a disaster waiting to happen. And now I contest and I will die on this hill that the Guardians of the Galaxy trilogy plus the holiday special is is one of the best trilogies in Hollywood. I'm putting it up there with the original trilogy of Star Wars. I'm putting it up there with Fight Me on This. How to Train Your Dragon trilogy is that's good stuff. The first 3 Rocky movies. I like Rocky 4 and Rocky Balboa, but I mean, they're in the first 3 Indiana Jones movies. I mean, this is going up there as one of the best trilogies I've ever seen because kind of to your point, Matt, is we get some completed character arcs from the first movie. I watched the first 2 movies, in preparation of going to see this one because I realized that it had been a minute since I'd seen them. So I watched them fresh over the weekend before I went and saw the movie. And yeah, you're right. Like those callbacks to Rocket's story or things with Peter, Nebula with Drax, all of that, like it just landed so well. And I walked out of the theater just wiping my face off with leftover popcorn napkins because I was in tears. And what made this especially special for me was so I saw it on Sunday, May 7th,
Mhm.
2023, obviously.
Yep.
May 7th of 2018 is when I saw Guardians Volume 2. So I saw them 5 years apart to the day, completely by accident.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I found that out because I was just scrolling through Facebook memories because I decided I wanted to hate myself for a little bit. That's the only reason you should ever go through your Facebook memories is if you want to hate your past self. And I found that a picture I had posted of myself at the theater after watching Guardians 2, sobbing, and I was just like, "Oh, he did it to me 2 movies in a row on the same goddamn day." You son of a bitch. Because
Hmm.
it's crazy because Guardians 2, the reason Guardians 2 affected me as much as it did is because it played into a lot of the emotions I had with my relationship with my father, um, who at the time was in remission from leukemia. So I was still kind of combating all of those emotions. And then with seeing Guardians 3 when I did, we is with especially when you get to the ending where Peter goes back and sees his grandpa. I have a very close relationship with my grandfather, and we just found out a few weeks ago that he might have cancer as well. And so we're kind of just like, I'm just kind of like, okay, James Gunn, can you stop writing your movies based on what's going on in my life, please? You son
Yeah.
of a bitch.
Exactly. Exactly. Like, come on, man, pull it back a little.
um, but just the jokes in this movie landed so well. There was never a moment that a joke didn't make me laugh. whether it was literally anything Drax the Destroyer did, whether it was Kraglin and Cosmo going back and forth about whether or not Cosmo was a good dog or a bad dog. He's the most predictable joke in the movie. I knew how it was going to end. It made me laugh every single time. It was, and also MCU's first F-bomb was so good. It was so good because who among us has not had that exact fight with somebody of just let go of the fucking door.
Yeah. Trust me, I have children.
It made me realize, oh man, I used to do that to my parents on purpose. I'd get in the car before them and I'd just keep hitting the lock and unlock button on the door. And I remember my dad was, let me open the fucking door. So it was great. It was, and it makes me, knowing now that James Gunn's Superman Legacy movie is now in pre-production, I am more excited. I was already super excited to see his take on Superman. I am now more excited than I thought I could be to see what he does with not just the DCU at large, but his Superman movie, knowing that he's helming that himself. I'm so excited.
Yeah, when you're looking at because I think that's, for me, Man of Steel is seriously missing a story arc for him himself. There's, to me, the only growth he has is like, oh, I have a suit now and I can fly. But seeing what he's done just in the Guardians movies individually, as much as I didn't particularly care for the Suicide Squad, each character did have their arcs here and there. Peacemaker, of course, a prime example of an arc. So all of that said, like, this just makes me really happy, not only that he's doing Superman, but that he is heading up DC going forward to really kind of make sure writing, character development, all of that stuff is in good hands with him. And, just again, like I said, fantastic film and a fantastic example of somebody who can craft this kind of stuff. So I'm really looking forward to what he's going to usher in with this new age of the DC movies.
Yeah, me too. Looking forward to seeing what he's going to do with his DC characters, specifically when it comes time to, again, we know James Gunn loves his teams, but when it comes time to put together his version of the Justice League, what that's going to look like. And speaking of that, I think it's a good moment to get into what our main topic is going to be, which is we've done a lot of speculation about things with James Gunn's DCU. And as we get closer and closer to the release of The Flash and the inevitable reset that's going to set up the DCU, a listener of the show, TJ Montgomery, thank you, buddy, for reaching out, who was like, I'm curious what you guys are actually going to do, like who you think should be the actual Justice League. And I had a kind of a fugue state where I realized, oh yeah, we haven't done that yet.
Yeah, the closest we got was when we did our version of phase 1 of the DC.
Yeah,
we mixed actors, which some of it was gold and some of it was not.
Some of it was great. The more I think back on your casting of Chris Pine as Lex Luthor, the more I love it, honestly. First time I heard it, I was like, no, you're insane. And then even I remember I listened back to that episode, and you can actually listen in real time as I slowly fall more and more in love with that. But so with that being said, let's talk about James Gunn's let's pitch James Gunn's Justice League.
Holy transition, Mr. Mike. What's up?
Wow, you never again. Never again. Oof. All right, so this is going to be us pitching our ideas for the main Justice League for James Gunn's DCU. Now, we have a couple of caveats with this one. So the first thing we want to say is we are not casting Aquaman. The reason for that is Aquaman 2 comes out allegedly this year in December. Still haven't seen a trailer for it. Allegedly comes out at the end of this year, and Momoa is still in it as Aquaman. So as far as we know, he's sticking around as Aquaman, and honestly, I kind of hope he does. I really like Aquaman. I mean, it and Wonder Woman are the only ones in the old DCU that made $1 billion. So,
yeah.
But so we're not changing Aquaman, and but the ones we are going to go off of are Wonder Woman, Flash, Martian Manhunter, Superman, both Green Lanterns, Batman, and Robin. Those are the ones that we're casting because those are the ones that we we either know or figure are probably going to get in this. And again, this is all speculation. We know nothing. We've heard nothing. We won't hear anything until after the Flash comes out. But other than that, it was pretty much just go nuts. This was hard. This was really difficult. This was a harder job I set for us than I thought it was going to be. And by the way, when we get to the end of ours, I'm going to read off TJ Montgomery, who asked us to do this. He sent us his list as well.
Okay.
So
Okay.
when we get to the end, I'll read his off, and we can critique it and break it apart and tell him all the reasons why we hate it. No, I'm kidding. But who knows?
I'm not.
I actually don't remember what his list is. So anyway, I think given that this is a Batman show, we should probably save Batman for last.
Yes.
So I'll let you decide. Where do we want to start here?
Let's start with the Green Lanterns.
Okay, cool. So John Stewart or Hal Jordan first?
Let's see. What J or H is first? Alphabet. H-I-J. H. Let's go Hal Jordan.
All right. Who do you got for Hal Jordan in this thing?
I went easy, but like, why? Like, it's one of those like, yes, that's perfect. And I went
safe, but safe for a reason.
Yes, and it was Jensen Ackles.
Oh, okay.
Like, if you, I mean, watch him in interviews, watch him through Supernatural, like, you can easily see him rolling into this, swagger-filled, lightly comical, but not all the time. But he can also do the brooding stuff. I just think he would be really solid as Green Lantern. And he's like, in the past, when I've talked about Green Lantern, I think he's been my third or fourth pick. Mm-hmm. When they first started talking about the DC universe, as much as we love my idea of Chris Pine as Lex Luthor, I always wanted Chris Pine to be Green Lantern. I thought he would have been.
He's a name that gets thrown around a lot whenever they talk about introducing Green Lantern. Hal Jordan, his name gets thrown around a lot.
See, and that's something I'm very curious about, is how many of these actors will get reused since it's a reboot. But that's a conversation for another time. But I think Jensen Ackles, he's got a good look, he's got a good talent. He's about the right age, I would feel like you would do with Green Lantern. Because if you got both the Green Lanterns in this stuff, I don't think we're doing an origin.
Oh no, not a chance. The way he talked about it in his announcement video was that this is like True Detective with space cops. Yeah. I take this as basically like they're Matthew McConaughey and Woody Harrelson as their partners, and they've both, and Hal Jordan was doing this first. So it might be John Stewart's origin, but I highly doubt it. I think this is going to be, no, we've been partners or whatever, and we're doing our thing.
Yeah. So that's where I think he's I think he's around the same age as me. I think he's like mid to late 40s, but he doesn't look it. And even then it doesn't matter.
Jensen Ackles, he's 45.
Okay. So you got another 10, 15 years. Because I mean, look, Green Lantern's not Batman. You're not looking for, it's like Robert Downey Jr. is Iron Man. He's not doing anything. It's not like, it's all going to be CGI. He's flying, he's shooting hand blasts, doing constructs. There may be some physicality, but it's not like an intense thing. So I think he would be fine.
No, Jensen Ackles, I don't think it's ever a bad pick for anything. He's so good on The Boys as Soldier Boy. He's so good in The Boys, which is their version of Captain America. I know you haven't. You're not as caught up or seen as much of The Boys as I have, because you have kids.
That too.
And if, especially in particular, his character in season 3 is brutal. So for Hal Jordan, I went kind of a similar route in terms of like gruff TV actor in his 40s. This is somebody who I think needs another shot at something big, and that is Charlie Hunnam.
I could see that. See that.
I almost picked him for somebody else, but ultimately I think for gruff seasoned space cop, he's so good in Sons of Anarchy. He's so good in Sons of Anarchy. And even, that crappy King Arthur movie he was in, he wasn't bad. It's just, the movie was just terrible.
Stupid.
It sucked. It's really bad. But he's good in Pacific Rim. He's a very good actor. He can be that kind of slightly roguish type character that you kind of need Hal Jordan to be. Hal Jordan's kind of a rogue if you, in D&D terms. So
Yeah.
um, I think, and I also, given who I picked for Jon Stewart, because that was something I had to keep in mind too, was not only who do I think could play a Hal Jordan, is who could play a good Hal Jordan alongside my pick for Jon Stewart.
Yeah.
And I really like the idea. I think Charlie Hunnam needs to be a kick-ass hero, main hero in DC or Marvel. And you know what? At this point, let's put somebody with some edge to him in the DCU as Green Lantern.
I think back in the day, I cast him as, 90s Aquaman with the long hair and the brooding and the hook.
I could totally see that, honestly.
So who'd you do? Then who's your Jon Stewart?
My Jon Stewart, because I'd love to see this, is John Boyega.
Okay, yeah. Heck yeah.
I think John Boyega needs another shot at the world of nerddom. He got hosed with Star Wars. Yeah. It's a bummer. He got shafted by writing. He got shafted by fans, even before the first sequel came out. So John Boyega, he's so good in Attack the Block. Oh, he's so good in Attack the Block.
Heck yes.
I think he'd make a hell of a Jon Stewart, and I think John Boyega and Charlie Hunnam playing off each other as space cop buddies. Give me that now on a silver platter, and I will give you all my money. Especially because we know that the Green Lantern is going to be a series, not a movie.
Yeah.
On Max. So I hate that I have to call it that
now. You don't. You can call it HBO Max. Everybody knows what you're talking about.
Everybody knows what it is. Yeah. I think the two of them in particular, that's what I'm most excited about, is not just seeing these guys play a Green Lantern, but seeing them play against each other as a Green Lantern would be a lot of fun.
I like John Boyega. I truly think he would have been the only person you could have put in as Black Panther that people wouldn't have been like, no, blah, blah, blah. They should have realized Black Panther. But I also have been saying he should be Cyclops whenever they bring the X-Men into the MCU.
He could be Cyborg. Hell. Put John Boyega in something, is what I'm saying. I want more John Boyega. Yeah. I think he is perfect for nerddom, and he just needs another shot.
Yeah. Now my pick is, I'm not sure how to pronounce his name, so I'm just gonna say Rejon Page. He was the Paladin in the new Dungeons and Dragons movie.
I haven't seen it.
What?
I haven't seen it. You know why. You know why.
Yeah, I know, but you watch it anyway. It's on demand now.
Where?
Amazon Prime last time I saw.
I got to pay $20 to watch it there.
Oh my gosh, why do you hate me? Says the guy who won't watch Shazam. But anyway.
you'll be able to in a week.
There you go.
Renee Jean Page. Let me pull this guy's
he was in
Bridgerton. I probably know who you're talking about.
Yeah, I think he's currently in
Bridgerton. Oh, him.
Yeah.
I like him. I like him a lot.
The way he plays that Paladin against Chris Pine, because he's like the perfect man, perfect dude, perfect fighter, perfect everything.
He's a Paladin.
Yeah. And then, what's his name? Chris Pine's a bard. They don't ever say it. He doesn't ever really do it, but it's obvious he is.
He's a bard.
And just to see him against Jensen Ackles, who's going to be all over the place, and if you could do that same, like, no, this is how Green Lanterns are supposed to behave. This is what we're supposed to do. Yeah, but we can bend the rules. You have like a Kirk Spock thing,
That's a great comparison for it is of Hal Jordan and Jon Stewart. Is they're Kirk and Spock.
Yeah,
they're it's two guys with a common goal who are approaching it two totally different ways.
Yeah. So I think he was just so good in that. He really impressed me in that. And he's only in like 20 minutes, but
really?
You could tell why he's only in a little bit of it, because he'd just stolen that movie.
Stolen the whole damn movie.
Really hard to do with Chris Pine.
Yeah.
But no, he was fantastic. All right, who are we going next? You want to go to Flash?
Yeah, let's go to Flash, because I think mine is gonna make some people scratch their heads. Who do you have for Flash?
This is one of those, I know he's a good actor. I've seen him in a little bit here and there. But like, it was one of those like, where can I pull a Flash out of nowhere that someone's gonna be like, what are you doing? It's like, yeah, why not? Is Cameron Monaghan.
Oh,
Cal Kestis or whatever, the Jedi things. I think he was Joker.
He was the best part of Gotham.
Yes.
until he wasn't because of writing.
Yeah.
That moment in season 1 in the interrogation room where he goes full Joker for 2.5 minutes is excellent.
Yeah.
And he is long past due. Hey, Star Wars, can we put Cal Kestis in a live action thing, please? Because he can literally play it. It's him.
Yeah.
Really, for the Flash? Okay, I don't hate
Yeah.
it. I don't hate it.
I watched that. The way it came to me is that, have you seen the new trailer for the game? And Mark Hamill is like trying to teach him to be a
Yeah,
Jedi.
it played before Guardians at my theater.
Yeah, and I just looked at, I was like, dude, he's got that twinkle where he maybe has never been given the chance to have some fun.
Mm-hmm.
And I bet you because like if you go with um the Barry Allen Flash is not exactly a jokester. Wally West is.
Yeah,
So
everybody thinks he is because of, well, no, because on Justice League it was Wally West.
it was Wally West. Everybody
That's
thinks
true.
Everybody thinks Barry Allen is the kind of ha ha ha, and it's not. It's Wally West. So
Yeah.
if you went with Barry Allen, and I mean, whatever you want to do, I just think he's got the acting chops. He's got the look. He's young enough. You're going to get 10 or 15 years out of him, because that's the thing with some of these actors and some of these characters is like, they're not casting for a film. They're casting for a franchise. So you got to have somebody who's going to be able to be here for the next 10 or 15 years.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
all right, who'd you pick for Flash?
So I did. So for my Flash, I want mine to be Wally West.
Okay.
Because I think that'll help with the separation of, like, okay, we did Ezra Miller, we did Barry Allen. Now, somehow, through the magic of writing, we're now on to Wally West, the Flash. I picked Adam Devine.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Yeah, because jokester. And I like that I don't mind that Ezra Miller's Barry is kind of a jokester. I think it works. I think it works for what they needed to do in what we've seen of it. But I love Wally West. Because growing up for me, Wally was the Flash in the comics. The Flash comics I was reading in the 90s were when it was Wally. And then having the Justice League cartoon, it was Wally. So that's the Flash I'm the most familiar with. So I went with Adam Devine because I think Adam Devine is fucking hilarious, number one. And he can play that kind of quirky aloofness that comes with the Wally West Flash. And I think that given kind of the gruffness of the rest of my Justice League cast, he'll be like, oh, we need him to balance out. He alone is so lighthearted enough that he can balance out kind of the gruffness and intensity of the rest of my Justice League. Because again, my Green Lanterns, who we all know that Green Lantern and Flash are reluctant buddies in the comics. Charlie Hunnam, Mr. Sirius acting alongside Adam Devine Flash, I think would be a lot of fun.
Yeah. No, I think that's cool. I've seen him, I think, in 3 or 4 things. He's never been bad. He's never been annoying. He's just kind of been that, like, he's
got a very specific role that he can fill. And I think Wally, I love him on Modern Family. In the last few seasons of Modern Family, when he's so good as Andy on Modern Family. It's great in Silicon Valley. The Pitch Perfect movies aren't quite my thing, but he's good in them. And anything I've ever seen him in, even if I didn't like it, I liked him. He's very funny.
There was a movie. Oh, I can't remember what that is. Rebel Wilson, the British blonde chick.
Yeah.
There's some movie where she like somehow ends up in like a PG movie.
Oh, I wanted to see that, where she ends up in a rom-com. Becomes a rom-com. I want to see that so bad. I don't care. I don't care if it's bad. I love the concept of that.
It had a couple moments that were funny, but he was in it, and he was not the normal version of him.
Mm-hmm.
And there was like a couple of scenes with him, and I was like, oh wow, look at this dude go. Like, he really can act. So I would have no qualms with that, man. Bring him in. Let's do it.
And odds are that going forward after the reset, there's not going to be another solo Flash movie for a while. So the idea that he'll be able to fill in as a supporting role in some other stuff, that's kind of where Adam Devine shines.
Yeah, I think. Go ahead. Sorry.
I'll say give him a chance to grow into the character a little bit at a time in other movies, and then once you've established him, then you can give him his own Flash movie.
Yeah, this kind of reminds me of when they announced Jeremy Renner as Hawkeye, and the Avengers movie was still 2.5 years away, and
Yeah.
I was like, oh, he's going to be in something else. He's
Mhm.
appearing in something else. And I think when James Gunn said actors will be cast as voiceover and across all media, to
Mhm.
me, that makes me think he's casting everybody now and they will be appearing all over the place.
Yeah. They'll figure out the rest as they go.
Yeah. Like I'm casting the Flash just because the Flash may show up here and there and everywhere or whatever. So
Well,
I'm
it
excited.
it lends itself to like the Mark Ruffalo situation over at Marvel, where like the Hulk can't appear in his own movie, or else it'll be a Universal property.
Yeah.
Cool. You put him in a bunch of other stuff, and we get to hang out with him and develop him more in multiple movies.
Yeah.
So I love that. All right, so we got the Green Lanterns done. We got the Flash done. Where do you want to go next?
You want to go Martian Manhunter? He's next on
Yeah,
my
'cause
list.
I'm actually real proud of my Martian Manhunter pick, but I want to hear yours first.
Sterling K. Brown from This Is Us.
Oh, I almost picked him.
It was. I wanted to like.
Put
It
him in
sounds.
everything.
It sounded stupid. It sounded stupid to say this way, but like I wanted to go back to like a white guy,
Mhm.
just because like not comic accuracy, but also like he's a
I get it.
changeling. Like, what does it really matter if he's black or white or whatever? It's not
Yeah.
really him anyway. He's
Yeah.
really green. But since that has kind of been the thing for the past 10, 15 years, I was like, that might be interesting. But yes, Sterling K. Brown, I think he's just one of these guys. I'm surprised he hasn't done more. He's slowly all over the place,
Mhm.
but I think he's always fantastic. He's always great. And I'm just really like waiting for him to bust out big.
This one was a hard one for me because I really like Henry Lennox, and him as the Martian Manhunter in the Snyder cut was like, when I found out kind of that's what they were before the Snyder cut was even a thing, when they were like originally the idea was Henry Lennox would be revealed to be Martian Manhunter. I remember thinking to myself, oh, that's good. Oh, that's very good. And so I hated having to recast him for this because I was just like, oh, I really like Henry Lennox as the Martian Manhunter.
See,
Um,
I still haven't forgiven him for stealing Morpheus's girl. So
yeah, but Morpheus got her back in the end. Well,
okay.
also with Henry Lennox too, I remember when they first announced BVS, not even when they had the trailer ready to go, when they just announced it was happening, he's the one who went up at Comic-Con and read the monologue from The Dark Knight Returns, I'm the one man that beat you. And I remember thinking, I was just kind of like, shit, should Henry Lennox be Batman? Really good. No, dude, Sterling K. Brown is so goddamn good.
Yeah.
Put him in everything. I mean, whether it's Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, he's so good in. Even though that 2018 Predator movie is a pile of garbage, he's good in it as a bad guy. Sterling K. Brown has this weird. If you haven't seen Honk for Jesus, Save Your Soul, which came out last year, it's this indie movie. It's a great movie. He is incredible in it. And he's great in Hotel Artemis as well. I love Sterling K. Brown.
Dude, Black Panther, he's in it for like 3 minutes, and you're totally understand why what's his name goes absolutely apeshit.
Who is he in Black Panther?
He plays Killmonger's dad.
Oh my God, that's right. Oh, I forgot about that because it's such a short scene. You're right, though. He is so good. When Michael B. Jordan goes into the ancestral plane,
yeah,
and he's having that whole moment of like, what? No tears for me, no tears for your father. I was like, I'm gonna cry over this. I'm gonna cry over this dead bad guy. Oh my God. It was really hard not to pick Sterling K. Brown for something, honestly, but I was trying to avoid the safe choices. But also they're safe choices for a reason, so I get it.
I picked safe choices for the supporting because my leads are batshit crazy.
That's fair. Well, mine is somebody who I'm a huge fan of, who has been getting great role after great role. And speaking of small supporting roles in Black Panther for Martian Manhunter, I picked Daniel Kaluuya.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, that guy's real good.
He's real good. I've been talking to you lately about Jordan Peele's Nope, which you should never watch because I know things that freak you out. You will not enjoy Nope. Nope is one of my favorite movies from last year. That movie freaks me the hell out, and I love it. Daniel Kaluuya is so good, but also like, his performance in Get Out, his small but noticeable role in Black Panther. Daniel Kaluuya he's such I wish he should be a bigger star than he is. And I love he's got a quiet intensity about him. Even when he's, just being very, very chill, he's still very intense, and he's got a great stare. He's got a great stare with his eyes. What I would say about acting with your eyes. And since Martian Manhunter is a CG heavy role, to command a lot of presence in just the way you deliver lines, that's what you need from a Martian Manhunter. And I think Danny Kaluuya can knock that out of the park.
Definitely. All right, you want to start going with Wonder Woman, Superman,
Yeah,
Robin, Batman, or you want to do Robin next?
Let's go to the big three. I'm going to say we'll do Batman and Robin at the same time.
Okay.
Let's go to Wonder Woman.
All right, Wonder Woman. Who'd you pick?
I cheated on this one. I pulled one of my picks from an earlier episode we did, and I picked Alexandria Daddario.
I fucking knew it.
Yeah, because honest to God, to me, that's like such like safe whatever. To me, that's such no-brainer casting. Like, how do you not? She looks like a young Linda Carter. Yeah. She looks like a young Linda Carter. She's again like the excuse I gave was she's played in Sword and Shield type movies before with the Percy Jackson movies. Are they good? Not particularly, but she's good in them, and she knows how to handle combat acting. And I think, she has done a lot of stuff in independent acting in recent years. She's done a great job, I think, of trying to distance her, because everybody knows the scene in True Detective. Everybody knows what I'm talking about. If you haven't, yeah, whatever.
No, I haven't seen the show.
Yeah, exactly. So you haven't seen the show, so you don't know. Anybody who's seen True Detective knows the scene.
I'm totally messing with you.
I know you are. I know you are. And she has spoken out a lot about how, like, she's been selective with the acting roles she's taken because she's afraid of being typecast as like that girl and stuff. Yeah. Which I get. I totally get. I cannot look at this woman and not see Wonder Woman. Like, to me, it just makes almost too much sense. Like, it's almost kind of a slap in the face that she hasn't been Wonder Woman. So let's just go ahead and make that happen. All right, Matt, go ahead and tell us that you picked Margot Robbie for Wonder Woman.
Okay, well then let's go to Superman. No. No, this is where, for me, I had a couple different ideas, and I think my problem was, and this is where I almost, even though she doesn't look it, Daddario kind of falls in it, is like, I don't think you're going to cast any of these top three, besides maybe Batman, anybody who's in their late 30s. Because I really wanted to pick Mbari Lavi from Lucifer, who played Eve. Like, I just feel like she would be, she's kind of short for it.
She'd be so good, though.
But she looks the part. I think she's been great in things I've seen her in. But, like, I just don't know if you're going to cast a late 30s actor or actress across the board for a role that's this important that you need for the next 15 years, 10 or 15 years, and also, like, hate me when I say this, I think Alexandria Daddario is cast for certain reasons, and I don't know if her acting chops are them. Which also
we're gonna fight.
leads me into my almost other pick that you talked me out of, and I wasn't ever sure. I thought about Haley Steinfeld, but she's just way too young and way too waifish.
I don't know about her for Wonder Woman, but I also really love her as Kate Bishop.
Yeah, and I've seen her a couple other things. She's always fantastic, but I just don't know if it's such a weird thing with women because, I had this when I was doing films, and I had this one project I wanted to do, is like, I wanted a woman who looked like she was in her 30s, but finding an actress who doesn't look like a little kid.
Yeah.
Or doesn't look like somebody's mom.
Haley Steinfeld's very babyface. And I mean that with all the love in the world, but she's got that very kind of girl next door look to her. She looks because she's only like in her mid 20s.
Yeah.
She looks like she's about like 16, 17. Which is why in Hawkeye, when she talked about being 22, I was like, Are you really?
So yeah, so what I did is this is one of two of my characters that I just kind of like did out of look, resume, they have to be good,
Mhm.
perfect. And I picked an actress named Samantha Robinson. She was in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yeah, I'm pulling her up right now because I've seen that movie. I love that movie.
Yeah, she's been in a couple things. She has one of those resumes. It's not very long, but everything she's done, she's gotten big accolades for.
Okay.
The Love Witch, Sugar Daddy, something called Cam. But if you just look at her, like you could totally see, like this is somebody who could play Wonder Woman as an immortal,
Mhm.
but looks like she would fit in the 40s, the 50s, the 60s, just because of her look. And definitely got to keep with that idea that she would be Greek. Are you able to pull her up?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. I don't remember her specifically in the movie. I think it was a smaller role.
It probably was. She
Um,
was, let's see, what does it say she was?
hang on.
Like
I have the
Carmen or something?
yeah, hang on. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood scene here. Oh, her. Okay. No, yeah, okay. I know who we're talking about. Got it.
Okay. So she has a really good look. She's
Mhm.
gotten good accolades. She's like 31. So now you've got her for the next 15 years in I hate to say prime of their life, but you're not talking about somebody who's starting, you're casting them at 37, they're making the movie at 38, and
Mhm.
now as they transition to their 40s, who knows how things change.
Mhm.
And I mean that for anybody. I mean, it's kind of weird to watch Chris Evans go from being like a late 20s to late 30s guy as the role of Captain America. And of course, the MCU movies
Yeah.
are real time, so it makes sense. But you
We
could,
also get a guy like Robert Pattinson who looks a lot younger than he is too.
yeah. But I think she has the right look for it. What I'm looking for to be a Wonder Woman, she's not super scrawny, she's not super buff. She just kind of has that look, and that's kind of my random. Like I said, the don't pick a name, pick somebody who's kind of coming up and put them in the spotlight. Kind of like what they did with Gal. She wasn't
No,
big at the time.
she wasn't big. She, people gave her flack because she didn't have like the comic book accurate physique of Wonder Woman, which find me the actress who does.
Yeah,
Um, but she was ex-Israeli military. She had done the Fast and Furious movies. She knew how to hang with the physicality of an action role, and she, whether you liked it or not, she gave 100%. It wasn't like she was always trying as hard as she could. I was a bigger fan of her as Wonder Woman than I think a lot of people were. I thought she was really great. I think she was just kind of tied by the writing it's particularly in Wonder Woman 84. It was the writing and directing of that movie was not it. That was not her fault though. Um, all right, so let's get to the one that we know is coming up next. Let's get into Superman here.
okay.
This one was tough.
Who'd you cast? Let me hear yours.
I cast. I can hear the internet screaming at me. I cast Cole Sprouse.
He was shortlisted. He was
Yeah,
shortlisted, bro.
he's been slowly making a comeback into, like, I know he's been on what you call it,
Riverdale.
Riverdale. Um, but we know they're going younger super. This was the hard part too, because I knew they were going for younger Superman. Cavill's not even 40. So like I was like, how young are we talking here? You
I'm
know,
gonna say it's the thing I'm saying.
yeah.
Younger, so you have him for the next 10 or 15
No, I
years.
100% get it, but it made it harder for me to pick somebody
Yeah.
because the people whose names I initially picked were all about Cavill's age, and I was like, well, that kind of defeats the whole purpose here. But I really like Cole Sprouse. I look, I didn't grow up on Sweet Life of Zach and Cody. My little brother and sister did, and I remember watching it with them and thinking, this is funny. Like this is good family friendly writing. But he's, first of all, Superman's got to have a good smile. I want to point that out. One of the
Yeah.
good things you got to have is you got to have a good smile. Cole Sprouse has a good smile. He's got a very good grin, very good smile. But he's just kind of got this like this look on him of like excited youthfulness and of like a young guy who's figuring out how to be Superman for the first time. would probably have that excitement that comes with, holy crap, I've got all these powers. How do I use them and not kill everybody by accident? I can see there's a lot of fun you could have with this take of Superman that we seems like we're getting. And I think Cole Sprouse would be a really good pick for that.
I mean, the guy's got definitely some tenure in acting. When he has the black hair, there is a moment where you're like, "Oh yeah, like
Yeah.
look at that. That's a Max Fleischer Superman right there."
There's a picture I'm looking at right now, and I'm gonna share it with you on screen here. And this was the image that made me go, yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
Particularly, it's because he's got the hair, little hairs hanging down in front of his forehead, and I'm like, yeah, that's a young Superman right there. That's a young Clark Kent I'm looking at right there. So that was my pick. I'm really curious to see who yours is.
mine is another rando.
Okay.
I think I've seen him in a few things. He's got a long resume considering he's only 27. I picked Callan McAuliffe, I think is his name. He's in The Walking Dead.
I'm pulling him up right
He's
now.
been in a couple other little things, but he's 27. He's an Australian actor. He's borderline almost too short. He's 5'11.
He's almost too short.
But
usually went over 6 feet for Superman, but
yeah, but with boots, whatever, it'll be fine.
Yeah.
But I just thought he was.
He was in The Walking Dead after I stopped watching it, so I don't.
I mean, I never watched I watched The Walking Dead like 4 or 5 times and was bored very quick.
Yeah, I'm not as familiar with him. But like I said, he was in Walking Dead when I stopped after I stopped watching. Yeah. So
he's Big Sky. He's in that. He's just been in a lot over the last several years.
Mm-hmm.
But just something about his look, I was like, that would be fun. He's Australian. Australian guys are always tough. And if Chris Hemsworth is any indication of the level of talent, let's stick with an Australian guy. So that was kind of my pick. Admittedly, it's a blind pick, but it was just one of those, like, there's nobody I can see, especially with the idea of like, we need somebody, in my opinion, under 30. Because if you're wanting to like bring him back to high school and tell some of those stories, you're going to need somebody who can pull off the youngerness of it all. So that was kind of my thought on it.
Like I said, it's really hard. You know what I do remember him in was in I Am Number 4.
Yeah.
That movie's
little.
It's not a big part, but he's in it for most of the movie. But
no, I meant he was little.
Oh yeah, he was little. But he was. It's hard to critique actors when they're that young. But yeah, casting this is tough. Like casting a Superman again, and this is kind of the same problem I ran into with my Batman, which is like when I already really like who we got, it's hard for me to pick somebody else because I like what we got now. Same like with Martian Manhunter. It's like I like Henry Lennox as Martian Manhunter. I don't want to cast somebody else.
Yeah.
And who knows what could happen. Again, we have no idea what they're going to get away with the Flash reset. But yeah, picking a Superman and a Batman, I mean, that's hard because there's a lot of it comes down to tone.
Yeah. Who'd you pick as Robin?
Oh, okay. Okay. I flat out cheated with Robin, and I just wrote unknown young actor. because here's the thing.
We talked about this, yeah.
We did. I went back and rewatched James Gunn's announcement video from earlier this year, and look, he straight up because the conversation we had was, does he go 9, 10, 11 years old like Damian is, or does he cheat a little bit and go like middle teenager? The way he's talking about it and the way Damian's almost always been portrayed, it's 10, 11, 12 is Damian. I'm not even going to remotely try to cast a current working young actor that age. I'm just not. Honestly, the best thing I think for James Gunn to do would be to hold an open audition for young actors that age. Go to theater actors and young men who were in live theater, that kind of thing. Because that's where they pulled Ray Fisher, who played Cyborg, from. He was a theater actor. And watching the Snyder Cut, he was good. So I cheated with Robin. I was like, pick an unknown young actor. Surprise me. Because honestly, that what would, as somebody who hates Damian Wayne with a white hot intensity, it's hard for me to say who would be really good as this character that I can't stand. And it's not like I hate him in the same way that I hate like Dolores Umbridge in Harry Potter, who's a terrible person and you should hate her. It's I hate this character. I hate that this character exists. So I cheated and just like cast an unknown young actor, because it would be a hell of a statement if you plucked some young up and coming actor for his first acting role and placed him in this and he knocks it out of the fucking park. Like that would be incredible, especially because you're going to need someone who knows what the hell they're doing as Batman to kind of guide this young actor along as well, and to play off that actor, that young man, very well. What about you? Because
I'm lucky that I have children, so there's children's movies I watch.
That's true. I don't have, with the exception of the occasional Disney movie, I don't have that luxury.
So I picked Jacob Tremblay.
Yeah, I thought about it.
It was just like going through the different age gaps and the ages, like he's the perfect. I mean, you'd have to say Damien's like 15-ish and not 12, which is stupid. No 12-year-old can generate any kind of power to hurt any adult ever.
Was he raised by Ra's al Ghul?
No.
That's also where my hang-up was with casting Damien, is because it's like, this is the child of Talia and the grandson of Ra's al Ghul. So it's also going to kind of depend on who you cast as Talia and Ra's.
Correct. Yeah. Which way do you go? And that's where I have a conflicting, because I have two different Batman ideas. But no, the thing of it is this kid is fantastic. Like, I've seen him in 2 or 3 movies. The Wonder, which is heartbreaking and amazing. Like,
I refuse to watch it because I know it's going to make me cry.
It was, well, it is tough, but I mean, dude, it's hard enough to get a good child actor, but a good child actor that young to go through the prosthetics and the things he has to go through in that movie. You're just like, give me a break. And the thing of it is like, you know, he's kind of grown up. We'll see what he looks like as he gets to be an adult. But
here's the other reason I didn't want to pick him. He's the voice of Damian Wayne on the Harley Quinn show.
Oh, is he really? I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah. I thought you don't watch the show.
I don't watch the show.
He's the voice of Damian Wayne on the Harley Quinn series on Max. So that's the other reason. I tried to avoid picking people who are already voice acting these characters or have already played them. I say that with a big asterisk next to it because we haven't gotten to Batman yet.
That's what I'm saying.
But yeah, that was the main reason I didn't pick him. Was I was like, well, he's already technically Damian Wayne, and if James Gunn's trying to have this, like, the actors who are voicing them, like, all, like, they're gonna, you know, with a cross media thing, and he's trying to have a clear defining line between what's canon and what's not, that makes things a little muddy.
No, that's understandable.
I like Jacob Tremblay a lot. I really genuinely do. I mean, Room, for crying out loud. He's so good as the young man in Room with Brie Larson. That movie is, I mean, like, there's a reason that movie cleaned house at the Oscars that year. That movie's incredible. Jacob Tremblay is fantastic. But yeah, he plays young Damien already. So
I did not know that.
I love that you picked him. And I love that that's the reason why I didn't pick him.
I don't know. I probably would have picked him anyway. Who knows?
It was hard not to, because I did for a little bit try to Google some young actors to see who could maybe do it. And yeah, if you go for that, like, middle teenager age Damien, which I think does ultimately make more sense, but just the way that James Gunn described it sounds like it's not what they're going to do. They're going to go for like the 12-year-old version of Damien. I'm not going to try to cast a 12-year-old.
Yeah, no, you can't. You can't.
All right.
You go first. You're Batman. Since you didn't pick a Robin, you go Batman.
All right. So here's the thing with Batman.
Just say you picked Jensen Ackles. That's okay.
Okay. Well, I have 2 names, and one of them is Jensen Ackles.
I knew it.
And the reason I say there's an asterisk there is because he is already voicing Batman in animated stuff, just like Jacob Tremblay is. So it's like, again, if you want to have that clear distinction of what's canon and what's not, Jensen Ackles makes things murky. However, he is so good in The Boys as Soldier Boy with that intensity, that aggression. If that's the version of Batman they want to go with, which is kind of this super intense, super dark, super serious one that's having to deal with Damian, I think
Yeah.
Jensen Ackles is a good pick for that. However, we're talking about a Batman that was written by Grant Morrison for The Brave and the Bold, who was raising Damian Wayne. And given this is James Gunn running stuff, I have a feeling there's going to be a bit more sense of fun and hopefulness involved. So that leads me to my other pick. And again, the reason I'm split on these two, it depends on the tone they go for. If they go for the more serious one, like I'm kind of hoping they do, it would be Jensen Ackles. But that's also what Matt Reeves is doing with his Batman. So if he wants to create a separation in tone from Matt Reeves, something a bit more, I hate to say the term light because it makes it sound like I'm saying not serious, but just a bit more, not as intense as the Batman, I would go with Jake Gyllenhaal.
Okay, I can see that.
I
No,
like
I
Jake
can.
Gyllenhaal. He's one of those guys who, like, when I first started seeing him in movies, I couldn't stand him because I do not like Donnie Darko. I think that's one of the most pretentious movies ever made.
I still don't get it.
I don't.
I just,
It's
I,
not
and
that
I
I don't.
mean, I don't get why people like it.
Yeah, I don't get why this movie is such. It's up there. It's a pretentious movie. It's so I don't know. And so for the longest time, I kind of fought against Jake Gyllenhaal. And I also understand, like, it's hard to shake the fact that this guy played the Prince of Persia. Jake
Yeah.
Gyllenhaal played the Prince of Persia. A terrible movie about a mediocre video game. So, but I really liked him in Spider-Man Far From Home. He was very good as Mysterio. If you've seen him in things like The Hurt Locker, was it Hurt Locker?
No.
Yeah, he's
Jarhead.
here.
He
He's
was in
very
Jarhead.
Jarhead. That's right. And he's in that new one that's coming out, The Translator, where about
Yeah.
Soldier Squad. Yeah, he's getting so good at action roles.
What was it?
Oh,
Source Code? Is that what that one was called? Where he goes back in,
yeah.
like in the machine?
Yeah. Or the one where he was the dispatch guy, like last year, or the year before. He's very good. Jake Gyllenhaal's very good.
Prisoners to go up against Hugh Jackman in a role that makes
man.
Hugh Jackman the hero. Like, yeah.
And it was Nightcrawler, wasn't it?
Yeah, Nightcrawler, where he's the
Nightcrawler.
camera guy.
He's so good in Nightcrawler. And again, he comes from that like Robert Pattinson, Ryan Gosling school of acting with your eyeballs.
Yeah.
And when you're playing Batman, that's something you gotta be able to do because you're in a mask. All the love in the world to Adam West, but he's not an eyeball actor, which is why in the movie he wanted to get himself out of the suit as much as possible.
Yeah.
Jake Gyllenhaal is and also Southpaw.
Yeah.
Southpaw, he's great in Southpaw. So I really like Jake Gyllenhaal. So if they're gonna try to create a distinct tone differential between this Batman and Matt Reeves' Batman, I think Jake Gyllenhaal is the way to go. If they're still gonna try and keep Batman as kind of the dark 90s take on Batman, then I would still say Jensen Ackles. But again, that's with a big old asterisk next to it.
Yeah.
Because he's doing The Boys still, and again, he's already voicing Batman in several. It's very well too. That's the other thing too, is you can tell this is a dude that loves Batman and is So
Have you seen his Batman cosplay?
It's amazing. It's incredible. Yeah. It's so good. So Jensen Ackles is kind of my safe choice, but ultimately I think it's going to come down to what they want the tone of this Batman movie to be.
Yeah, I think my only issue with Jensen Ackles as Batman is I don't know if he can brood. Like, he could be a dick because he's a dick in The Boys, but I don't know if he can be brooding.
Oh, he can brood. He broods really good in The Boys.
Okay. I need to check it out. That's my only thing. Like,
you need to take a weekend away from your family somewhere remote where they can't see you watching The Boys season 3 and watch The Boys season 3, because on top of it being the best season of the show, it's also really messed up. But Jensen Ackles is basically playing what their version of Captain America would be.
Yeah, I know all about that. Like,
but it comes across very like Nolan Batman-esque.
Yeah, my thing is this: like, if he was ever cast as Batman, I wouldn't hate it. I don't know if he's the guy I'd go for. You know what I mean?
Sure. But
That's
also,
kind of
this is James Gunn we're talking about.
yeah.
So the guy you would go for, look, Dave Bautista,
Chris Pratt.
Chris Pratt. Yeah, but even looking at the Guardians, Chris Pratt as Star-Lord makes more sense than Dave Bautista as anybody. Like casting Dave Bautista as anything
Yeah.
was a gamble. And lo and behold, which is why now I think he should be Hugo Strange.
Sure. All right, so I have two. I have my what I want to call my fan casting, just because I love the dude, and I think this would be amazing. I don't think there's a prayer it would happen.
This is just the pipe dream one.
This is the one where like I've seen enough of his movies to go like he could do it.
Okay.
I really think he'd do it. My wife was like, "You're nuts. You just have a man crush on him." I'm like, "No, I think he could do it. There's no way they'd do it, but he has just done so many cool things. He can make me believe he could be the Batman." And that is Ram Charan, the guy from RRR.
Still haven't seen it.
Mike.
I know.
Little brother Mike.
Have you seen Shazam 2? Shut up.
It's different. Shazam 2 is not available yet. RRR is everywhere.
That's nice. That's nice.
No, I think
the more you tell me to watch it, the less likely I am to watch it. So.
Well, don't just watch the musical number, because then it'll throw you off as him as Batman.
Yeah.
No, I mean, obviously he's Indian. He's indie. So the biggest hurdle is going to be, how do you if it's a Hindi movie, of course he looks like everybody else. Yeah. But to have like a Hindi guy be Batman, either you have to cover his face or hope that no one puts two to two together that, oh, there's only 15 Hindi people in Gotham. Batman must be one of them.
Right.
This helps narrow down, figuring out a secret identity. But the dude is talented. He's got a build like nobody's business. He's athletic as all get out. I mean, like, you can tell watching some of these movies, like, oh, they watch En Bach and he's trying to imitate those movies. Like, he doesn't have martial arts training, but I mean, that's an easy fix, especially because more often than not, they don't put him in there. Yeah. But I don't think there's a prayer you'd cast this guy to lead your Batman movie.
He would be good at it, but it's not going to happen.
Not here. Yeah. I mean, maybe you'd have to really be like, dude. Like, he'd probably get more. I'd probably see him more as Ra's al Ghul.
Okay.
Even though he's quote unquote young, even though Ra's al Ghul should be immortal. But anyway, it doesn't matter. But no, I just think.
Well, whenever you're dealing with immortal characters, you run into the Lieutenant Commander Data from Star Trek issue of like, Brent Spiner's gonna get old. Yeah. You're gonna have to write around that at some point.
Yeah. But no, I think like, look, Bruce Wayne, just like Dick Grayson, is supposed to be very good looking Playboy guy.
Yeah.
This dude, yes.
Good looking dude.
The good looking dude.
Well, that's the other reason you pick like a Jensen Ackles or a Jake Gyllenhaal. It's like, they could go out and get any woman they wanted.
Yeah, easily. But no, my real pick kind of comes out of nowhere. I'm not exactly the biggest fan of the show. I watch it for him, even though he's not the main character, because my family loves it. And I picked Eric Winter from The Rookie.
I'm pulling him up. I haven't watched The Rookie, so
he just plays Batman in the show.
Oh, okay.
This gruff, intimidating, no nonsense guy that just gives everybody crap for not being awesome like he is. But he's a little bit older. I haven't really seen anything he's been in, or if I have, like I know he was in The Mentalist. I don't remember who he was in The Mentalist off the top of my head. So yeah, he's one of these guys who has made his bread and butter being in TV. And he really has. It's like almost all his credits. So it would be interesting to pull him and but he's got the build, he's got the physicality, he's got the acting chops. Like I said, if you watch you watch an episode of the show and you just like, oh yeah, this is exactly how Batman would treat Robin or Flash or Green Lantern when they're doing things wrong. He would just be like, nope. Nope. Like, there's this great scene where they pull over this car and he walks up and starts talking to the person and they start speaking to him in Spanish. And his trainee is like, starts speaking to him in Spanish. He's like, I need you to tell him this, this, this. And she
Mhm.
tells them something completely different
Mm.
to kind of tone down what he was, because he was being mean.
Right.
And they take 2 steps away, and he tells her in Spanish, the next time I tell you to speak for me, you tell them exactly what I told you to say. But says it in Spanish, and I'm like, oh yeah, no, that's a very Batman thing to do.
That is absolutely a very Batman thing to do. I mean, I forget. I think it
I
was.
can understand you, and
Yeah,
you will tell me
I was gonna say
everything.
that's exactly what that reminds
Yeah,
me of, is that Justice League moment.
yeah, from
Um,
the Wonder Woman one where she's with the princess, like maid of honor, maid of honor.
yes. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Yeah, I know you can't understand what I'm saying, so even so, I will never talk. I do
So
understand
good.
what you're saying, and you will talk. And just like, oh, you're dead.
Uh-huh.
Did you get a chance to look at him?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, sure. I mean, sure.
For a picture of a guy, he looks like a
For a
white dude
picture of a
who's
guy
big.
who I have no concept in my head of what they've been in. Uh, considering like looks like the biggest acting role he's had was on some Lifetime show. So that kind of makes me go.
Well, it's interesting because yeah, he's just like, looking at his resume, he has been consistently working for the past 24 years.
Oh yeah,
Consistently.
and that, like, you don't get work that consistently in television, especially if you're not good at what you're doing.
Yeah.
But also the thing with any of these castings, but in particular with Batman, let's be honest, how many times has someone been cast as Batman and everyone's first reaction is, really?
Yeah.
Really? Like, again, Pattinson, Affleck, Bale, everyone's first reaction, really?
Dude.
It's never been, oh hell yeah. It's always been, huh.
Dude, I can remember
Yeah.
them announcing Val Kilmer as
Yeah.
Batman and then watching Top Secret.
Oh God.
Going like, what?
See, I remember watching this was after Batman Forever, but watching The Saint with Val Kilmer,
Oh yeah.
and having watched that back as an adult, it's not a great movie on its own, but man, it's like
He's fantastic.
he's so good. Why wasn't that his version of Batman? He was a better Batman in The Saint than he was in Batman Forever. Um, yeah, but I remember being a kid when George Clooney was cast as Batman, and I had no frame of reference for who George Clooney was at the time. I was 9.
Yeah.
But I remember I remember seeing that on the news, and I said, Mom, the new Batman's gonna be somebody named George Clooney. My mom, who watches ER religiously at this point, goes, okay. I remember my mom supposedly just laughing when I told her that. She was like, are you kidding? Like, my 9-year-old just told me that George Clooney's going to be a Batman. Okay. And then I remember, like, as Taco Bell was doing the big promotion, there was a picture of him in the bat suit on the window. My mom was just kind of like, yeah.
Oh, I knew that was a crappy idea the moment it was announced.
I was too young to have any frame of reference. So, all right. Well, like, those are our picks. Before we go, I want to get into, since TJ Montgomery is the one who sent us these, I wanted to read off the ones that he sent in, and I'm looking through it right now, and I'm like, oh wow, man, maybe we should have had him on the actual show, because we're kind of in the same thought process with a few of these.
Let's go. Hear it.
So his Superman is Jacob Elordi, who I don't know particularly. He's on that show Euphoria that I don't watch on HBO because I don't want to watch teenagers to destroy their lives. I'm good. But he's like 6'4". He does have kind of what TJ said was he gives the vibe of that small town respectful country boy. And I'm just looking at his face and I'm like, yeah, no, if you told me this was a farm boy from Kansas, I would totally believe you.
Yeah, I can see that.
100%.
I think I've seen his name thrown around already.
Yeah.
For Superman, I mean.
Okay. For Batman, so like me, he has 2 names. One of them is Jensen Ackles, and he gives a lot of the same reasonings that I did. You said, but alternatively, somebody named Alan Richson.
That's Reacher.
Reacher, which I have not watched yet, but I've heard is excellent. I've heard it's an excellent show. So that was his pick for Batman, mostly because of like the build, the physicality, which I get.
Yeah,
I haven't seen the show. I can't comment, and I know he's in Titans, and I don't watch Titans, so I can't really comment on that. Now his pick for Wonder Woman, I think he's out of his goddamn mind. But
was it Margot Robbie?
No. He said Karen Gillan.
I'm not gonna say she hasn't been on my list before.
She's on my list for stuff like Andrea Beaumont, the Phantasm, or like if you did an older take on if you were doing like adult Batgirl / Oracle. I don't know about Wonder Woman.
She's what Jensen Ackles is for me for Batman. She would be for Wonder Woman. If you were like, hey, our new Wonder Woman's is Karen Gillan, I'd go, not where I was gonna go, but I'm excited.
I'm not gonna complain about Karen Gillan being in anything. All right, his pick for Hal Jordan, he wrote Chris Pine. Enough said.
Boop.
Which, I think, that makes, his pick for Jon Stewart, like me, was John Boyega.
Boop.
Which, hell yeah. His pick for the Flash is Wally West, Cameron Monaghan.
There we go. See, so, this, as Matt Knost once said, this man knows how to make a list.
Man knows how to make a list. And then his pick for Martian Manhunter was Lawrence Fishburne.
Yeah, why not?
Look, it's a mostly CGI role with a lot of voiceover. Lawrence Fishburne's got a hell of a voice. If I'm picking someone purely on voice acting, I probably would have picked Keith David, because Keith David has one of the greatest voices ever.
The only thing is Lawrence Fishburne's busy being the Beyonder right now, so I don't know if that's going to happen.
Lawrence Fishburne's always busy. Find me a time when Lawrence Fishburne's not busy.
Have you seen him yet as the Beyonder?
No, I haven't.
Okay. No, it's fantastic. I'll send you the link.
Okay. So hey, TJ, great list. A lot of parallel thinking here. And thanks for reminding us of hey guys, you haven't done this thing yet on your show, and having us go, oh shit, he's right.
Yeah. Like, wait a minute. Yeah.
Like the most basic no duh episode. We're like, oh, how have we not done this yet?
You know what? I think I'm going to toss it out there. I'm going to volleyball this up. Let's do another one and do villains.
Let's do another. You want to cast some DC villains?
Let's do some DC villains. Why?
Okay, well, then I'm going to pause, because I was going to ask you for if you had some honorable mention castings, but a bunch of mine are villains. So we'll pause on that for another one. We'll for maybe for next week. We'll see. We'll cast some big villains. Honestly, just pick like 5. Like how many Justice League characters we cast? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's
do a villain for each.
I'll say we cast, if you count Robin, we cast 8 characters today.
No, I think let's cast Arch Nemesis.
Cast the Arch Nemesis of who we got here. Yeah. So that'll be 6. So that'll be one for Wonder Woman, Flash. We'll just cast 6 villains. I'm not going to try.
I guess you're right. Yeah,
we'll figure it out. We'll cast a bunch of villains next week. How's that sound?
That sounds good.
That sounds good to me. Guys, if you've got a list of your own, we'd love to hear what it is. So you can head on over to our website, which is podpage.com/wearethebatman, podpage.com/wearethebatman. Send it to us there. Do what TJ did. Type it up on a note on your phone, screenshot, and send it to us on Twitter at wearethebatman on Twitter. You can find me on Twitter at Mr. Mike Shea.
You can find me at Mr. J Ninja.
Thank you guys so much for listening. I know it's kind of a long one, but it was a fun one, and we should have done a long time ago. And we'll be back again with you guys next time here on We Are the Batman. Same bat time, same bat podcast channel.
Bye-bye.